the Jesus way.
Oh, the Jesus way
Is the way of peace.
is the way of peace.
Oh, the Jesus way.
Oh, the Jesus way
Is the way of peace.
is the way of peace.
Oh, the Jesus way is the way of peace. When He is King, all wars will cease. May His peace begin with me. Gonna beat my sword
Gonna beat my sword
into a plow.
into a plow.
Gonna beat my sword
Gonna beat my sword
into a plow.
into a plow.
Gonna beat my sword into a plow. Christ is King in my life now. May His peace begin with me.
Brethren Disaster Ministries and Children's Disaster Services have had an extremely busy 2019. Currently, Brethren are involved in rebuilding and repairing homes in 3 sites. North Carolina and South Carolina were hit by Hurricane Matthew in 2016. And volunteers continue working to rebuild homes that were destroyed by the flooding that occurred in those areas. A 3rd site of rebuilding and repair is in Puerto Rico, which was devastated by Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Maria in 2017. Hello, I'm Brent Carlson. Welcome to Brethren Voices. The hurricanes of Irma and Maria left Puerto Ricans with little or no consistent access to power, safe water, and resources, causing about $90 billion in damages. All 7 churches of the Brethren congregations in Puerto Rico and their communities were among those affected by the hurricanes. As in past years, Brethren Voices has featured Christmas alternative gift-giving suggestions for the individuals on your Christmas list who already have all the stuff they need. Brethren Disaster Ministries is partnering with the Puerto Rican district of the Church of the Brethren through its Recovery Committee on a volunteer-based home repair and construction program to communities with Church of the Brethren congregations. We'll be sharing some of the stories of the survivors, as well as those who have been partnering in the rebuilding effort. I met with Jose Calleja Otero. He's a pastor as well as the district executive minister of Puerto Rico. We met with Jose during the 2019 annual conference, and we asked him about the recovery effort and how it began.
Of course. Well, I'm a district executive part-time, and when the hurricane hit us, I found myself trying to struggle to find a way to gather my brethren and my leadership so we could start helping people. Right now, we have helped around maybe 45 to 50 families. That includes distributing food and power plants and stuff that we were getting from the Brethren Church down the island. So that was the first initial phase of responding to the crisis. So after that, we got Roy Winter and Jen Dorsch went to the island, and when they started explaining to us the whole process that is going to be happening, not only within the Church of the Brethren as a response committee and stuff like that. So we established a committee and we started outreaching those who are in need in terms of rebuilding their roof or their houses, because we were already in phase 2. And that was 2018. So we've been rebuilding around 7 houses at the moment, but our case management that we have done, we have like around 28 cases probably. Yeah, that are pending right now. And there are certain things about FEMA that hasn't been going quite right in the island, but that is not in our hands. We keep praying for FEMA, see what's going to happen down there. So at the moment, we're getting volunteers for the rest of this year. There's still areas in the island that are not getting help at all. And I have to say this, I don't want to get into politics here, but the reality is that Congress is not sending money to Puerto Rico. We have a federal board assigned to oversees the finance of the government. We're having really hard issues with the government, corruption, which is, like I said, it's
the government in Puerto Rico or the government?
The government in Puerto Rico. So the Congress sent a federal board to oversees the finance of the island, and that was before the hurricane.
With the devastation of Hurricane Maria, the rebuilding became a case management problem of those who could and should be helped. We wondered about getting supplies and how it was determined who should be helped.
Case management is an ongoing thing. So as we're projecting to rebuild one house probably in this area, there are other case management coming to the committee, the recovery committee. So there are long numbers there. You know, yes, there are certain areas in the island that they're still struggling with electricity problems and no water. And there are people that have been living without a roof for 2 years in their houses. They've been living without a roof. We have a committee. We have a district disaster coordinator. So he's the one who's leading the whole team as far as that leadership that is doing case management, and they're visiting people, going to different towns. So I pretty much follow up on their meetings, go to their meetings, so I keep track on what's going on, but they have their own thing along with BDM. So we started first in Castañer because it was the most affected area, but on September, I believe we're getting volunteers to Caimito to work on the more metro area, which is more concrete, but there's still needs there. There are people with wood houses there, even though it's a more concrete area. So we're looking into doing case management. We already have done some case management in Caimito and the churches in Bayamón and Vega Baja. But as far as getting volunteer work done there, I believe that on September, maybe October, we'll be receiving and sending people there. So both areas will be working at the same time. We do have supplies. Supplies are getting, yes. A lot of hardware stores are providing materials, but the issue here is the funds. We need FEMA, we need Congress to deliver those funds to the, I don't know the structure, but I guess if that doesn't get done, then, well, I guess the denominations are going to have to use their tithes and offering to help these people, you know. So we're looking forward that FEMA could get those funds and start the real rebuilding project. I got a text when I got here to conference, and text from back home. They were saying, you know, there's a program back home in Puerto Rico that they're saying that there's a family living in a town called Maricao. They've been living in that house without roof for 2 years since the hurricane. So I got a text from our district coordinator saying, what can we do for these people? We don't have a Church of the Brethren near that town. And I told him, I guess we're going to have to find a way to reach out for them. If nobody's reaching out for them, we need to reach out for them. And how are we going to do? We don't have the Valor program anymore. I said, you know, we need to walk by faith. Let's just walk, and God will take care of the rest. So if you send a drone and to look in the center of the island, you'll see a lot of blue spots, and those are roofs that need to be repaired. So, well, I think that what we need, first of all, is prayer, and the support of our brethren in the States, as far as, because there's certain ambiguity what's going to happen right now in the island. Recently, on June 15, I think it was, FEMA had this program, was called the Valor program, which nonprofit could get materials from hardware stores, and FEMA pays for those materials. So we're using those materials, but they canceled that program in June. So right now, we're figuring out how we're going to keep on helping people. If FEMA or the government, or Congress doesn't send the money, we don't know what's going to happen. So I would like to encourage our brethren, folks that are listening and looking at this program, we're trying to get volunteers through BDM, so things are really pretty much in order, because it's very complicated to work in the island. So I encourage all my brethren, you know, keep sending volunteers, put it on your schedule. We will love you to come down to the island. We have seen the blessings of having you guys come down to our island and share so many wonderful stories. And we have been doing, after rebuilding houses, we have been doing blessings of the houses. So we have a worship service there for those families. We've been helping farmers too, to the Global Food Initiative. So those farmers are grateful of the work that the church is doing, and some of those families are going to our churches, are going to Castanier and other churches of the Brethren down there. So it's not in vain the work and the efforts that we all do, you know. So I encourage you guys to put on your schedule for 2020 or 2021 to come to Puerto Rico and keep helping us rebuild our island.
With this program, we are inviting you to share an alternative Christmas gift with the survivors of the Puerto Rican hurricanes of Irma and Maria. It's simple and it's easy. Send your contributions to Brethren Disaster Ministries so that volunteers can continue the rebuilding and repairing of homes in Puerto Rico. We even put together a music video. The music is that of Andy Murray of Huntington, Pennsylvania, who performs A Christmas Carol to a video of the volunteers rebuilding a house in Puerto Rico.
And touch somebody's hand, look into somebody's eyes. The king is walking through the land, and it should come as no surprise that he's working with your brother's hands, and he's seeing with your brother's eyes. If you're waiting for the king to come, your brother's the one. You can look up, you can look down, you can go all over this old town, but you'll never find the Christmas king until you've got a mind to do one thing. And touch somebody's hand, look into somebody's eye. The king is walking through the land, and it should come as no surprise that she's working with your sister's hands, and she's seeing with your sister's eyes. If you're waiting for the king to come, your sister's the one. You can see light, yes, and you can see trees, and you can walk in artificial snow that comes up to your knees, but you'll never see the manger child till all brothers are free, children and reconciled. And touch somebody's hand, look into somebody's eyes. The king is walking through the land, and it should come as no surprise that she's working with your sister's hands, and she's seeing with your sister's eyes. If you're waiting for the king to come, your sister's the one. You can buy toys now, and you know you can go and get all those guns, dolls, and trains for all the girls and boys. Yes, but they won't have a thing they can enjoy till they see the kid in every girl and boy. You gotta reach out and touch somebody's hand, look into somebody's eyes. The king is walking through the land, and it should come as no surprise that he's working with your brother's hand, and he's seeing with your brother's eyes. If you're waiting for the king to come.
Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico in 2017. And the family of Joel Arroyo is a fairly typical example of how Brethren Disaster Ministries gets involved following such destruction. Joel was interviewed by David Solenberger, and he expressed what many families have experienced. Joel stated that while in their home during the hurricane, the roof came off and just flew away, and the rain poured in. He was so thankful to the brethren who have done the rebuilding of his home. The family was just another case where FEMA and other government programs did not help because Joel could not prove ownership of his own house. Years ago, his mother had given him the house as a gift. Now finally, he has been able to get an official document saying he's the owner. And for his family, Brethren Disaster Ministries removed the remainder of the roof that was still attached and replaced the doors and the windows and even painted the house. He and his family are so happy and grateful for the help they received. When the hurricane struck Puerto Rico, Maria Gonzalez was living in a rented house and had to seek shelter in a community shelter established in an abandoned school building which had not been used for 14 years. FEMA had wanted to send her to another community which was far from her family. But Brethren Disaster Ministries arranged for her to get relief funds, and together with a government program, she was able to get 10 acres of land with the understanding that she would need to live on the land. With a BDM grant, she was able to buy a trailer and get some materials to build a foundation for the trailer. Maria was also able to get a temporary repair grant, and combined with a permanent repair grant, she will be able to get a new plywood floor and paneling inside and outside the trailer home, as well as a metal sheath covering for the top of the trailer. In her words, she cries because of the joy she has to see her dream become reality. She and her son are so grateful from the bottom of their hearts. She says there are no words to express how we feel. We thank God and Brethren Disaster Ministries. Community members and local members of the church will help her continue to rebuild. With the assistance of David Sullenberger, we were able to share the thoughts of Carrie Miller, who is a Disaster Ministries volunteer from Michigan working in Puerto Rico. We asked her to share her impressions of what is happening in the rebuilding efforts of Puerto Rico.
I think that the impact that this project has had on the people in this area is that they're able to see that there is a community of people mobilizing and responding to the need, and it's really been beautiful to see all the community members, not just from the church but from the entire community, mobilize and come together to help out with the houses or even work alongside the volunteers. That's been, I think, hopeful for community members, for the homeowners that we work with, and for ourselves.
Carrie's volunteer work has really been appreciated, and we were wondering about the problem of finding people to assist with the work of rebuilding homes that have been so devastated.
A lot of times at this point in the response, since we are a long-term recovery group, we are finding houses in a place where they have been temporarily repaired because we came out about a year after the hurricane. A lot of the houses had, initially Maria took the roof, but then they came and they had to put on the metal roofing they picked it up from the valleys, they put it on themselves, and then the short-term recovery groups came and put on the tarps, and then we come and we replace the roof. So that is our role in the recovery process. We try to do permanent repairs as much as possible to get them in a house that is safe and secure. But a lot of times initially you don't see the destruction that Maria actually caused. It's a little bit more hidden, but once you go inside, there's a lot of mold, there's a lot of leaking, and that just creates, health problems, and there are just so many other effects caused by these temporary repairs. So that is how we are finding houses normally.
Working with people that live in the remote mountains of Puerto Rico presents special problems. And we asked Carrie about what that involves.
Yeah, the clients that we work with usually, especially in this area in the mountains, most all of them I would say are not able to do these sort of repairs on their own. They really do not have those funds, or if they do, even finding someone to contract, it has been really hard since Maria. The prices have gone up, or everyone is busy. That's another big factor. Luckily, we've been able to work with a couple local contractors that we can work with who have specific skills, such as a stucco finish on the outside of houses. But yes, the clients are not able to do those repairs themselves. Otherwise, a year out, you know, they would have done that.
Qualifying for disaster funding or grants from FEMA presents its own challenges. And we asked Carrie to share about what is needed to qualify for FEMA assistance.
Yes, what happened here in Puerto Rico is initially a lot of people did not qualify when they applied with FEMA. And FEMA actually responded pretty well to that, and they did a second round of applications. But what happened was there was not great communication, and a lot of people did not know about that. So we are trying to just, filter down some of those funds from FEMA through a program that we're using. We're partnering with, it's called Valor, and they provide materials to do temporary repairs to homes, but also supplement permanent repairs, which is what we are using them for. So that is one way that we are able to reach these clients that have not been able to receive funds or did not receive information about the available funds or the second chance they had to apply.
Many people in Puerto Rico do not have documents of ownership proving that they own their houses. And Carrie explained that for us.
One of the biggest factors in why people did not qualify originally was that they did not have land ownership, official land deeds. But a lot of the situations here, there's an inheritance that wasn't documented, or there are hacienda workers who are living in the same house their whole lives, but they don't own the property they're living at. The person they're working for owns that property, so they can't receive any FEMA funds, even though they're going to live there forever. So those are some of the cases that we are working with. They did not receive initial FEMA funds, and we're able to help, do those repairs on their houses.
A person does not have to be a member of the Church of the Brethren to receive assistance from Brethren Disaster Ministries. And that was something of a surprise for people living in the communities being served.
We've definitely felt the appreciation from everyone that we've worked with, and even just random community members that will come up to me. They'll approach us and say, "Thank you so much for what you're doing here." And the Brethren is so well known in Castañer and I think different communities, because we really are, and we've always been a service church, and Castañer is kind of a hub for those service projects. So it's been great that we've been able to work so closely with our churches here, and who already had a great base for serving their community, but we're able to be there on that platform with them. So.
Many people do not know that the Brethren have been involved in Puerto Rico since 1942. The Brethren Service Commission began the Castañer Puerto Rican project in 1942 during World War II as an alternative service option for Brethren conscientious objectors. And the first shipment of cattle by the world-renowned Heifer International was actually sent to Puerto Rico in 1944, 75 years ago. Carrie indicated that her experience in Puerto Rico has been one that has been very, very meaningful in her life.
When I first started here, I was not expecting that this work was so, it's so satisfying to see a homeowner go through that whole transition. You work with them in the beginning and they're distraught. They're showing you all the damage with their house, and then you see them to the end, to the house blessing, where they are even crying with gratitude, and they're just so thankful And it's amazing to see that process, and I'm so lucky and fortunate that I get to see that process with each homeowner that we work with. And it's just been unbelievably, it's been hope incarnated is the best way I can describe it. So.
For Brethren Disaster Ministries, rebuilding is a long-term effort, often taking years. Volunteering can be a life-changing activity, and for many volunteers, they make it an annual vacation event of serving others. Brethren Disaster Ministries Rebuild projects are supported by a network of volunteers from all across the country who reduce the recovery costs for homeowners by providing volunteer construction labor. And BDM partners with the local long-term recovery organizations who are working with their community to identify unmet needs after a disaster, including homes damaged or destroyed. Then BDM often works with other organizations to assist in making the repairs. If you have time, think about joining the effort. In the continuous 48 states, a 1-week commitment is requested. And in Puerto Rico, a 2-week commitment is expected because of all the effort it takes to get there. But all of your meals are provided, as well as a comfortable place to lie your head during the night for sweet dreams. And we want to thank David Sullenberger for providing video and interviews of some of these experiences. And for those who have everything they need this Christmas season, a donation in their name to Brethren Disaster Ministries would be wonderful. And you can let that special someone on your Christmas list know of your gift. This is Brent Carlson for Brethren Voices, wishing you peace.
Looking into somebody's eyes, the king is walking through the land, and it should come as no surprise that she's working with your sister's hands, and she's seeing with your sister's eyes. If you're waiting for the king to come, your sister's the one. Yes, and you can buy presents, and you can buy toys now. And you know you can go and get all those guns, dolls, and trains for all the girls and boys. Yes, but they won't have a thing they can enjoy till they see the kid in every girl and boy. You gotta reach out and touch somebody's hand, look into somebody's eyes. The king is walking through the land, and it should come as no surprise that he's working with